Every day I'm praying for my guidance, Lord, 'cause you're the one I'm totally relying on. 'Cause people change like the seasons, but you have never let me down. You're always with me. Keep me on the straight path. Your mercy outweighs your wrath. Keep me with your righteous company. Keep me on the straight path.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to a brand new episode of your program, The Straight Path. It's a great honor to have you with us here this evening on this beautiful day of Friday. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all of us, to make us always, inshallah, in the best of health and the best of iman. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all the brothers and sisters who watch Huda TV and all the brothers and sisters who are watching us at this moment, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Tonight, my dear brothers and sisters, we want to talk about something of great virtue and of great honor to the believer. And it's only a believer who can have this honor, the honor of Qiyaam Al-Layl, the honor of being one of the people who stands in the middle of the night while other people are asleep, and he or she stands alone and worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, stands in prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while everyone else is sleeping, while it's dark all around his house and all around the neighborhood that he or she is living in. That person is standing in prayer, and they surely know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching them, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is hearing them, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept the dua that they make to Him, because that person is sincere, inshallah. Because they're standing when everyone else is sleeping, when no one else is there. Even maybe their own household don't know that they are standing in prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the great virtue and the great honor of only the believer, the honor of Qiyaam Al-Layl, night prayer. And we want to learn tonight, inshallah, my dear brothers and sisters, how can we become one of those people, one of those few people that have this great honor of being people who stand up in prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at night. We're going to talk about some very practical steps. We're going to take some examples of people who were great in this aspect and how they achieved it, inshallah. And for that, I'm joined by a very special guest who's joining me, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, for the second time on this program, Sheikh Muhammad Shabir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this evening.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem.
Alayhi salatu wassalam.
I would just recite a few ayahs from Surah Muzammil. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya ayyuhal muzammilu qumil layla illa qalila nisfahu aw inqus minhu qalila aw zid alayhi wa rattil qur'ana tartila inna sanulqi alayka qawlan sakila inna nashiyatal layli hiya ashaddu wat'an wa aqwamu qila inna laka fi an-nahari sab'an tawila wazkur isma rabbika wa tabattal ilayhi tabdila. These are ayahs that first time I read Surah Muzammil with the meanings, because I couldn't understand Arabic, was almost 20 years ago. And ever since, it really is an eye-opener how important the Qiyaam Al-Layl for a believer is. And the reward with it, even though it's a voluntary prayer, but people that reach that level, that maqam of ihsan, and they are extremely blessed people, because no matter how smart and clever you are, without the blessing of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is not possible for one to make that call at the middle of the night, or the third part of the night, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends on the first heaven, and He is closest to His slave and ready and willing to listen to whomever asks for anything.
If a person is seeking forgiveness, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them forgiveness. If a person has a problem or an issue that they are dealing with, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will solve it for them.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I'm ready and willing and listening. So one needs to call any time, but that especially that time of morning, just before the dawn break, is the best time, and people, I'm sure in Ummah and people that are watching now, there must be some extremely blessed people, and they are very special people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're all special, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't treat everybody the same. The people that make an effort to get up at that time of morning, they are very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to draw near to the Creator, it's very important that one makes that sacrifice. The bigger the sacrifice, the higher the reward. And it is very important for a believer that once he puts all his affairs, all her affairs in order, then it is a level where you would extremely enjoy it once you experience it. At the beginning, it might be very difficult, so you must take it easy. Maybe not go to bed and then wake up again, maybe stay up a little later and do just 2 or 4 rakats. You don't have to do 11. You just do start with a little, because in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a regular action is very valuable. Not that you do 11 one day and then next day you don't make it at all, or don't even make it for Fajr. Because remember, Fajr is the obligatory prayer.
Yes.
It's the fard.
Actually, that's one of the ways of the shaitan. The shaitan can make a person pray at night and continue to pray at night and then fall asleep right before Fajr. So they end up praying a lot of great voluntary prayers, but then they end up missing the obligation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obligated on us, which is Salat al-Fajr.
I think it's very important that one knows that you must get your fried outer way first, and you need to be good at that before you move on to this stage for the night prayer.
Yes.
It's very important that I see with my travel and meeting a lot of people, that it is a lot of people, they can't make it for Fajr, especially in the Western world. I see here in Misr, Egypt, I've experienced that, mashallah, there is a good number of people that turn up in masjid. But in UK, in France, in places like that, you probably in the Fajr you have 4 or 5 people, and I've witnessed sometimes where there's only Imam and 2 people.
Yeah, but at the same time it's relative if you think about it. Because here, you may see like 40 or 50 people praying, but how many Muslims are really living in the area? There are a lot more, So sometimes the percentage of 4 or 5 people that's maybe better. In the UK is actually more, relatively speaking, than where you have 50 people in the masjid, but then you have all these lights off for like hundreds of thousands of people living in that neighborhood.
I was going to say that in my building there's 10 floors.
Yes.
And when I go to pray Fajr, I come back, and sometimes there's just one more light. There's one light on in my flat, and one more light. So it's extremely important that we fight with the sheets and we get out and we pray Fajr.
Especially when we're talking about winter.
Remember, you are getting the reward of all night prayer. If you make Isha and Fajr in the masjid, you get the reward of the whole night. So praying the night prayer, the Qiyaam Al-Layl, if you can make that, then you get 2 nights ajr. That's not for 2 nights worship. So it's very important that, okay, if you can't start with the Qiyaam Al-Layl straight away, you start with Isha and Fajr in the masjid.
What are some of the virtues of Qiyaam Al-Layl from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Well, the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I mean, it's very important that you rest and you also pray. The story of 3 Sahaba, when they came and asked Aisha Radhiyallahu anha what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do, and they say, they wake up and they pray and they sleep. But these 3 Sahaba said that no, we're gonna fast all the time, and we're gonna pray all night. And then upon finding out, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam summoned these Sahaba and said, look, I fast and I don't fast. I sleep and I pray. Where you get this idea from that you're going to fast forever, and you're not going to get married, and you're not going to sleep?
So the idea of balance.
As a balance, it's
Yeah.
very important that there's a balance in life, and also in the history of the pious people, it's very important that they get all their affairs in order, because this is a worship. It's between you and the Creator.
Yes.
And it's very important that we get all our, today the world is changing, and changing so fast, and we have multiple problems. So it's very important that we get our affairs right, as well as the 5 prayers and the Friday, and then it's the Qiyaam Al-Layl. It's very important. It's very virtuous, and we have stories of Sahaba that never missed it, even though it's not
An obligation.
obligatory.
Yeah.
It's not an obligation, and it is so pleasing for the soul. If you can make it on a regular basis, mashallah, there is so many of the stories. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to look into a lot of these stories, but I'm sure that that we have in today's age, if we have people, I know so many people, they've never missed a tahajjud prayer in their life.
Is Qiyaam Al-Layl kind of a secret between the slave and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Well, at that time of night, there's very little happening. There's nobody around. So it's only you and your Creator.
Yes.
And I think that one of the virtues is that to draw closer to the Creator. This is the best action. One of the best actions that one can perform is Qiyaam Al-Layl, because end of the day, the main goal of our creation is to please the Almighty, the Creator.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you that at that time I'm closest to you. I'm on the lowest heaven, and I'm listening and I'm watching. So it is a blessing for us if we can make it at that time of morning to leave our bed and make wudu and stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make the call.
What are some of the rewards that a person gets for doing Qiyaam Al-Layl? Maybe some of the rewards that they get in this life and also in the next life.
Well, I think that the reward here is this one of the fulfillment, self-satisfaction, because people look all over for the worldly pleasures. The best pleasure you can get is that when you've got total reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and total reliance, and Qiyaam Al-Layl is one of the reasons that one will find very much at peace with themselves and with the Creator. So it's important that we look, when we're looking at this world. I've not seen many people in my life who fulfill all their obligations and they draw themselves closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they're not happy here. They're all the people that I know that are striving in the way of Allah. I find them to be very satisfied with life and very happy.
Very content.
And very content. And then the hereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises, and Allah's not going to treat people that don't even make for the Fajr, and the ones that even make it for Tahajjud and also Fajr, He's not going to treat them same. So there's clear distinction between the people who strive and try hard for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake, and those who, for whatever reason, because devil's hard at work. Don't forget,
yes.
he's here, and his many tricks that he has up his sleeve, and one of them is don't leave bed, and you're going to be working hard all day, and it's going to be difficult for you. So I think that it's very important that one seeks help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because whatever action that one wants to carry out, you cannot say that I'm going to do it without saying inshallah, and also take protection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the Iblis.
I think one of the most important things is that we should start to at least have an intention. Many of us, even if we know about the subject of Qiyaam Al-Layl, we actually forget about it. We don't think about the subject too often. So I think the first step really is to make an intention that I want to be amongst one of the honored people, one of the special people who stand up in prayer at that time of the night.
Well, with any great thing that world is seen, it always starts with the thinking.
Yes.
That one must start thinking about it, and then you will, inshallah, at some stage you will take action. Maybe it's slow, maybe it comes late, but it will come.
Yes.
But if you don't even think about it, then it's not going to happen. So anything that you start, whether you start a business,
yes,
or you start working somewhere, first of all you have to think about it. And I think that when you try to say that one of the best ways to please, and Surah Muzammil here clearly says that one of the best ways to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to make that call.
Yes.
And you do it for a little time. It very clearly says you don't have to be up all night.
Yes.
And you don't have to do it long surahs, a long time.
And this is a command that first came to the Prophet ﷺ. We want to talk about that, inshallah, after we come back from a break. So, my dear brothers and sisters, stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment, inshallah.
Keep me on the straight path. Your mercy outweighs your wrath. Keep me with your righteous company. Keep me on the straight path.
Every time we sit for halqa or dhikr, especially in the masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide us with the following. نزلت عليهم السكينة, tranquility. You feel like peace of mind, comfort for your eyes whenever you're sitting in the halqa in the masjid. غشيتهم الرحمة, Allah covers this gathering with His mercy. وحفتهم الملائكة, that was stated in the previous hadith, and the angels will surround them. وذكرهم الله في من عنده.
Don't miss Dr. Muhammad Salah's all-new weekly program, Gardens of the Pious, live from 9 to 10 p.m. Mecca time every Wednesday night, only on Huda TV.
Straight path, your mercy outweighs your wrath. Keep me with your righteous company.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, thank you for still tuning in to our program, The Straight Path. We're back with you and we're talking about the idea of Qiyaam Al-Layl and the great reward of Qiyaam Al-Layl, standing all alone in prayer at night. Or of course you could be standing with your spouse or your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, and praying as a family. That would be something also great. Or of course praying in the masjid with the Musallin there, like we do in Ramadan, and could be at other times as well, inshallah. Sheikh Muhammad, Shabir, if we could talk about the importance of Surah Al-Muzammil. And Surah Al-Muzammil was one of the first surahs that was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. And in it came the commandment right from the beginning for night prayer. What is the relation between it being so early in the Quran as a commandment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and building the Islamic character according to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ?
I think all the Makki surahs were short, and a majority of them were on Tawheed and the worship of one and only God. So I think that as far as the Surah Muzammil is concerned, that in first seven ayahs and then the last one, again, it talks very briefly about not overburdening your soul, not doing too much. So you start with little, and then and also read the Quran at that time of night. It's very serene, it's very quiet, and you will be very much at peace with yourself, and you will not have no distractions, because during the day, no matter how hard you try, but there's so much happening around you. So that time of night is very quiet, and you're by yourself, and it's so easy to imagine that you're standing in front of the Almighty, and try your best to connect, to see that you're talking to the Creator.
Yes.
Because in any prayer, basically what it is, it's a two-part. You are asking the question, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is answering, and then is granting you. And Surah Muzammil talks about the beauty of Quran and the way it should be read, and also that it must not be prolonged. It particularly talks about keeping part of life night, not the whole night. And I think that we see that in many ways our deen, people try to think that I can do more. I think that when you try to do more than what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, or what they left us with, there's always a problem. There's always the issues that you're trying to invent something that is not being given to you by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
You end up going to an extreme.
To extreme. So the balance is very important. That you don't do too little, but you don't do too much. You just the best example is the example of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we need to. And I must admit that the early part of my life, I was not so much aware of the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes.
And where I come from, there was little knowledge of Quran in Kashmir or in Pakistan for political reasons or whatever the issues were there, because the Muslims in Kashmir wasn't ruled by a Muslim ruler, they were ruled by a Hindu. And the biggest problem was any knowledge, not just the knowledge of deen, the knowledge of dunya was also blocked for you. And this was a problem. And then when I was born 8 years after the independence of Pakistan, at that time the Muslims were waking up, and slowly we were having schools and masajid and madaris. But to go back to that time when I was 5 years old, I look in my area, there was very little knowledge about, especially the knowledge of Quran, and there's so many myths that we don't really have time to go in for. But the people were practicing anything that they could get their hands on, because the love of deen. But the love of deen without the knowledge is not good enough.
I agree with you. That applies to the concept of Qiyaam Layl that we're talking about.
Yeah.
We have a phone call from Brother Jawda Ahmed, who's the founder of Jannat al-Ma'wa Center. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Brother, where are you calling us from?
I'm sorry again, please?
Where are you calling us from?
Where I am from?
Yes.
I'm from Egypt, akhi. I'm an Arabic teacher and a Quran teacher and director for Jannat al-Ma'wa Association. MashaAllah.
Jazakallah khairan. We want to talk to you a bit about what are some of the rewards of Qiyaam al-Layl. What are some of the rewards of night prayer?
The reward?
Yes.
Yeah, there is a lot of rewards from Qiyaam al-Layl. First, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, praise be to Allah. There is a lot of benefits from Qiyaam al-Layl. If we can talk, we can say first benefit is to get inside paradise. This is the Prophet Muhammad advised Abu Huraira, said to him, if you talk good words, if you feed the poor, if you make good connect with your relatives, if you pray at night and during the people sleeping, then you will get inside paradise in peace. This is narrated by Sahih Al-Albani. And also there is a lot of benefits. For example, Prophet said that the best salah pray after the obligatory salah is Salatul Layl, Qiyaam al-Layl.
Yes.
This is narrated by Muslims as well. And also Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, if we can find a speech from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, we can say, he said, it's not hadith, it's his speech, he said, that Salatul Layl or Qiyamul Layl is better than to pray in the morning. Like when you give sadaqah in secret, it's better than if you give sadaqah in front of everybody. In the same meaning, Amr ibn al-As said, one rak'ah at night, it's better than 10 rak'ah in the morning. That means Qiyamul Layl has lots of benefits, akhi. There is other benefits. It's to take, or it's a sign that Allah loves you. And there is hadith and there is a story. We can talk about this hadith that it's narrated in Sahih al-Targhib wa Tarhib. This hadith says there is three, the Prophet Muhammad said, there is three persons or kind of person, Allah loves them and He gives them reward in the world, in the last day. First one, we don't think about first one because it's long hadith. We take the second one and the third one. Second one, or the second kind of people is the man has a beautiful woman and so comfortable and beautiful bed, and he left all of this and wake up at night to pray for Allah's sake. Allah said, he left all of this because of me, so I will reward him. The third kind of people who Allah loves them and He will give them reward in the last day is the man in the traveling and he has company in his traveling. It's long travel and they take rest, and at night the group stayed playing and make something different, and one of them left them to pray at night. And the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah will love this person and give him good reward in the last day. Actually, there is a lot of benefits from Qiyam al-Layl. For example, it's protection from fire in the last day, protection. And do you know this story about Abdullah ibn Umar?
You can tell us, go ahead and tell us the story, inshallah.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear it very well.
Okay, good. Abdullah ibn Umar, radiallahu anhu, he saw a dream. He was young and he said, I wish to saw a dream. And he said to the Masjid, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he saw a dream. His dream is, he saw that some angels took him to the fire, and he found a lot of fire, big fire, and he saw inside this fire people he knows, which he knows them. Afterwards, there is other angels came to him. This is inside his dream. Other angels came to him and said to him, don't worry, Abdullah. Abdullah wake up from this dream. He went to the Prophet Muhammad wife, Hafsa. He asked her to ask the Prophet Muhammad about the interpretation of this ru'ya, this dream. The Prophet Muhammad heard this dream and said this comment. نعم الرجل عبد الله لو كان يصلي من الليل. Abdullah is a good man, but if he pray at night, he will be the best.
Jazakallah khairan. Finally, I want to ask you, what are some of the practical steps that a person can take in order to be one of the people who performs Qiyam al-Layl or night prayer on a regular basis?
I'm sorry, your voice is so low. I understand that you asked me about what's the supported.
Yeah. What are some of the practical steps that a person can take in order to be a person amongst those who performs Qiyam al-Layl?
That means that the thing which I can do to help me to make Qiyam al-Layl?
To make a person, able to become one of the people who performs Qiyam al-Layl, what kind of steps can a person take?
I'm sorry. Okay, anyway, I understand that you need to know about the things I can do to make me very good at night?
Exactly, exactly. To make you a person who's able to perform night prayer.
Okay. The scholar, you know, we have a lot of scholar and Abidun, they have experience in this. They collect the things you can do to help you in Qiyaam Al-Layl. They said first, we have to sleep after Dhuhr, or at Dhuhr time, after Dhuhr time. That means Qaylula. Because hadith of Muhammad sallallahu narrated by by Al-Albani, he said, "Qilu fa inna ash-shaytana la yaqil." That means sleep at this time, because the shaitan can't sleep in this time, or doesn't sleep in this time. This time helps you to wake up at night and make yourself strong to pray all night or part of this time. Second is to reduce your food. There is someone came to Muhammad ibn Sirin, scholar, famous scholar, said to him, "Teach me how can I pray, or how can I worship Allah?" He asked him first, "Tell me first, how can you eat?" He said, "I eat until I feel full." He said, "This is like animals." Ask him, "How can you drink?" He said, "I drink until I feel full." He said, "This is also as well like animals." He said to him, "Go to know how to eat and to drink, then come and I will teach you how to worship Allah."
Makes great sense. Jazakallah khairan, brother. We really appreciate it. We're running out of time in this segment, but inshallah, these were two great tips. Thank you so much, brother Jawda Ahmed, the founder of Jannat al-Firdaus Center. Really appreciate your comments. Barakallahu feek. Sheikh Muhammad Shabir, he gave some really good advice about practical steps that we can take. He said taking a qaylula in the middle of the day, which is praying after Dhuhr, and so that we can go to sleep early also at night and are able to wake up in the middle of the night to pray. Also, he talked about food. A lot of people have a really heavy meal before they go to sleep, and that makes them unable to wake up.
I think the food is one of the problems. But also problems amongst the Ummah is that it's a sunnah that soon after the Isha prayer, you go to bed.
Yeah.
But we stay up.
Does that apply also in winter? Because we have our Isha prayer that's sometimes at 6:30 or 7 p.m.
7 o'clock. But I mean I think that maybe not 7 o'clock, but you certainly don't stay up until 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock.
Definitely, I agree with that.
And then then you find that you can't get up for the Fajr prayer.
Yes.
This is a big problem amongst Muslims. And the other one is that if you feed yourself according to Sunnah, you will never oversleep anyway. If you're with a full belly, you sleep and you would never be able to wake up. It's eat light and you sleep light.
Yes.
Eat heavy and you sleep heavy.
Yes.
This is a big problem. So these are the issues. But I think that a long day's work, some people are not that blessed that they have time to have a kalula at middle of the day. Because we work for companies that don't allow that.
Yeah. Maybe we should go work in China.
In ideal world.
I've heard in China that they're starting to apply actually this qaylula system. They provide rooms for the employees where they go do that. Of course, not an Islamic thing, but they saw that it increases productivity.
I worked in China for 10 years. Worked in China for 20 years, but I had an office for 10 years. And I know certainly when I was there, Chinese wasn't doing that. And Chinese,
I heard it was something recent. So.
Chinese, believe it or not, Chinese are, we're going off the subject here.
Yeah.
But we have many Muslims in China as well.
Yes.
Chinese are so hardworking. They work 12, 14 hours a day. And I don't know whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them that He hasn't given us, or we haven't got, that they don't get tired. They work. I have experience of Chinese that they work like 4 people.
One person works like 4 people.
Mindset is such that nothing is impossible. That's how a Muslim should be.
I guess maybe that's the missing link that we have. With our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should know that nothing is impossible. We're going to take a short break, inshallah, and then we'll continue after that. Brothers and sisters, stay with us. We'll be back in a moment, inshallah.
Keep me on the straight path. Your mercy outweighs your wrath. Keep me with your righteous company. Keep me on a straight path.
Are you looking for a way to recharge your hearts or to get you back on track in your obedience to Allah? Or maybe you're looking for a program to remind you of your duties to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here on Living Hearts, we'll be working together as a nation, helping each other to remain firm in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every Saturday, live on Huda TV, you will have a chance to learn your deen and at the same time listen to real life stories that will make your heart shake. Every believer needs a place to turn, and inshallah we can all turn to Living Hearts.
Straight path, your mercy outweighs your wrath. Keep me with your righteous company. Keep me on a straight path.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to the final segment of your program, The Straight Path. It's this beautiful day of Friday, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, that we are enjoying together, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward every single person who's watching and to make what we're hearing and what we're seeing here on this program of benefit bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. We are still talking about Qiyaam Al-Layl, but we also in this final segment want to talk about some other issues as well with Sheikh Muhammad Shabir. He's a person, mashallah, who's traveled the world and he's lived in many different places, a lot of great experiences and wisdom that he has that inshallah he'll be sharing with us in this episode and hopefully inshallah in the upcoming episodes of the program as well, inshallah. Before the break, we diverted off the topic. We're talking about Chinese workers, and the reason that the topic was brought up is I heard that recently they implemented a system in China to increase productivity where they introduced the qaylula system, kind of, where they have special rooms or special beds for employees where, during work hours they take like a 15 or 20 or 30-minute nap, and that helps them to become more productive. You tell me a little bit about your experiences in China.
Well, I tell you, certainly Chinese are the hunger for knowledge. Any good practice, whether it comes from America, whether it comes from Islam, whether it comes from Christianity, they're willing to adopt. They want and power nap, they call it the power nap.
Yes, the power nap.
The power nap is so important that, if you just switch off and on, you feel fresh. And even that goes even for if you can't sleep in the afternoon, in the evening, have a little 20 minutes nap, but don't sleep for longer, because that then slows you down. China, I believe that I worked in China for almost 20 years, Hong Kong, China, and Muslims in China for Muslims is a big struggle. A big struggle.
There are a lot of Muslims in China, though.
There is a lot of Muslims in China, and again, the lack of knowledge. We were talking about knowledge earlier.
Yes, you were talking about.
I took a journey to Mecca over 2 years ago. In Ramadan, my daughter had a holiday. I had time off. I went to Mecca to do Umrah, and I stayed there for 6 weeks. But then I learned that knowledge is more important for a believer than worship.
Definitely.
Because without knowledge,
you can't do the worship right.
You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Even if you have a good intention, if it's not according to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then therefore it won't be accepted.
So this time round, in last Ramadan, I decided I want to come to Egypt and learn more about my deen.
MashaAllah.
But previously, for almost 20 years, I traveled the Far East, and I picked up so many good stories that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam always turned a negative into positive. Just think about the woman that used to throw rubbish at Allah's Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Yes.
That was a negative. She was doing it to upset Rasulullah Sallallahu
Alaihi Wasallam.
But then when she fell ill, they went and looked at the result of that. And today we still have glimpses in Muslims of that, following that best example. We have a story from the United States. After 9/11, the feelings were very high and hard and difficult times. So Muslims were, world over, was having problems and difficulties. And in the United States, the people in Texas, and one of the brothers was telling me that this has been happening all over Texas, not just in one area.
The cowboy state.
The cowboy state. And one of the masjid had a ground outside it, and one of the local cowboys would stage a pig race after Jummah to upset Muslims.
Especially a pig race, not a horse race,
and not a horse
bull
race,
race.
not a bull race, a pig race. Specially designed to upset Muslims. And of course, you know, the Muslims, traditional Muslims that we have today, we don't think about things, we just
act on emotions.
Act on emotions. And the Imams would every Friday make a statement to this race and not think positively. Then one Jummah, they had a Afro-Caribbean Imam. He was just there for a couple of Jummahs. He came and somebody told him that this is what happens after the Jummah.
So he wasn't the resident Imam, he was a visiting Imam.
No, he was a visiting Imam, and mashallah, blessed with the hikmah.
Yes.
And he decided that after the Jummah, he asked the followers, the people that was praying Jummah, that if you can stay behind, we will go outside and we'll surprise them. So he goes out with his followers, and they go out there and they watch the race and they clapped and they cheered. And the cowboy stood there and he's looking and he's stunned. He doesn't know what to do. And he goes, it shocked him because he wasn't expecting that.
Yes.
And the following week they did the same. So third week there was no big race.
There was no fuel for the fire.
Because there was no fuel for the fire. He wasn't getting the desired results. So what happened that 2 weeks later the cowboy turned up the masjid and he goes that can I come in at the time of Jummah and observe what you're doing there?
SubhanAllah.
And within 2 weeks, and that day they allowed him to sit to the back. They took his guns off him and they said, you know, you can sit here, but still 2 people watching whilst they were praying. But once the Imam, after the khutbah start with the 2 rakat, and he started reciting the Quran, the tears were flowing out of the cowboy's eyes, and he was crying.
SubhanAllah. Even though
this
he doesn't
understand the Quran. This is the ijaz of Quran, that it moves hearts. And within 2 weeks, the cowboy comes in and he goes, what do I have to do to become a Muslim?
SubhanAllah.
So there is so many.
And he accepted Islam.
Stories, and he accepted Islam.
Alhamdulillah.
And
SubhanAllah, like exactly you said, we can definitely compare that to the story of what the Prophet ﷺ used to do with the Jewish women who would throw garbage or rubbish in front of his house. SubhanAllah. Before we continue, because SubhanAllah, I really love listening to your wisdom and to your wise stories. We have a report from Facebook called Islam in the Social Media that we want to watch together. Brothers and sisters, as you know, every single week we bring you this report, Islam in the Social Media, where we pick great quotes from some of the famous Muslim da'is and callers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sheikhs online. So let's go ahead and take a look, inshallah.
Mufti Ismail Mink. When a dog barks at you, the most foolish response would be to bark back at it. Ahmed Bukhatir. Start your day with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and end it with Alhamdulillah. Yasmin Mujahid. If you pull away the layers and see only yourself, it means you need to pull away more layers until you see only him. Sheikh Asim Al-Hakim. When someone asks, how are you? Never say Alhamdulillah with a sad and broken voice. Alhamdulillah shouldn't be an indication of pain and sorrow, as this is a sign of ignorance of its meaning. Say it with a smile that indicates the amount of confidence, trust, dependence, and reliance you have in Allah. Sheikh Abdul Rahim McCarthy. Being able to hear the adhan and walk to the masjid is one of the greatest blessings. Sheikh Shadi Sulaiman. When Allah loves His servants, He will open a door of goodness for them. Sometimes that door of goodness that Allah might open for you is not what you really desire or want. But remember, Allah knows what's best for you. That's why He opened it for you. Accept what Allah had decreed for you and enter that door that Allah opened for you. You will find a lot of goodness in there. And finally, Sheikh Mu'tasim Al-Hamidi. The best thoughts are those about Allah. The best actions are those dearer to Allah. The best words are in the remembrance of Allah.
Hope you've enjoyed these comments. A lot of great wisdom that's been shared by these great callers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala online. Like we said before, technology is neither good or bad, it's about how we use it. What do you think, Sheikh Shabir?
Well, I think that we were talking about reaction, and we're talking about the reaction of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with this Jewish woman.
Yes.
Look at today at the Muslims. We are reactionaries. We're not proactive. We don't do what's good for ourselves and good for our deen. But what we do is we always react to world, because when we talk about this American film or the Denmark cartoons, the kuffar and the people who are doing these things, this is the exactly kind of reaction that they expect, because then this gives us such a bad name.
Yes.
Because it goes to show that we don't have the intellect to handle it in a positive manner. Would Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would react like that? You know, just look at making people think that we are smart people.
Again, it goes back to the idea of the lack of knowledge, and acting only on goodwill or on emotions.
Goodwill on its own is not good enough, because you can be sincere, but you can be sincerely wrong.
Yes.
Because this is why the knowledge is so important,
Yes.
and you act upon that knowledge, and you look at the Muslim world. What we do is we destroy our own properties, we kill our own people, and this is what if there is enemies out there planning things, this is what they want. We're doing their job for them.
Yeah, there surely are enemies, but we need to understand how we should fight them with wisdom, and what is the best way in order to achieve the best results.
Look at the would Muslims at time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do that? I mean, there's some of the greatest Islamic heroes. Look, Salahuddin. This was story told me by a Catholic. He said there was a man in Islamic history, a Muslim man. He was so good. This man was a plumber in my house. He was fixing the central heating.
Yes.
And I said, what do you know about him? And what's the source of your knowledge? He goes, this is history written by Christians. It goes that the Crusades, the two Crusades that the Christians won, the blood of Muslims were all over Jerusalem. And the children, the elderly, the women, nobody was spared. When Salahuddin entered Jerusalem, he said, killing of innocent civilians not allowed.
Because he's following the example of the Prophet ﷺ and the commandments of the Prophet ﷺ.
And then he goes that, and this is a Christian guy that's telling me this story.
Yes.
A beautiful story from our past, from our heritage. And this is what we really need to practice today.
Yes.
Some wisdom and wisdom with knowledge.
Jazakallah khair. This is a great way to end the program here tonight, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more of your wisdom, because mashallah, I think you're a person who has a lot of experience in life, and you're able to relate it especially to youth who are the target of this program. And inshallah, we hope to see you again soon on this program. Inshallah. Thank you so much for your time. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you.
Barakallah feek. My dear brothers and sisters, Jazakumullah khairan for taking the time to be with us here this evening. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the things that we talk about in this program are of benefit, first of all to ourselves and also to you. Jazakumullah khairan. We'll see you again next week bi'idhnillah ta'ala at 9 p.m. Mecca time on Friday. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Every day I'm praying for my guidance, Lord, 'cause you're the one I totally rely on. Every day I'm praying for my guidance, Lord, 'cause you're the one I totally rely on. 'Cause people change like the seasons, but you have never let me down. You're always with me. I ask you, oh Lord, keep me on the straight path. I'm certain that this world won't last. And keep me with your righteous company. Keep me on the straight path. Your mercy outweighs your wrath. Keep me with your righteous company. Keep me on the straight path.